When you start making changes in your life, it can be challenging at first to stand up for yourself and feel confident with these choices that you're making, especially around people who you love. There's nothing as sexy as when you are the most authentic you. It draws people in, it sets a certain just clarity and commitment. We should always pursue living in the way that is in the most alignment with what it is that we want in our life. Right? We cannot make everyone happy. No matter how hard we try, we cannot make everyone happy. So the only person we should focus on making happy is ourselves.
Hi, my name is Pernilla, and this is my Challenge Your Norm podcast. I'm absolutely obsessed with anything related to personal development. And well, to grow, we got to challenge our norm. And so on this podcast, we chat about life and how we can challenge our normal way of living it to make it greater than we could have ever imagined. Just one little belief, habit, bold move, and challenge at a time.
Hello, my beautiful friend, and welcome back to another episode here on my Challenge Your Norm podcast, where today I want to speak with you about how you can set yourself up for success when you are about to enter a room of family members or just people in general who do not live the same lifestyle as you do not have the same vision or goals for their life as you do, and potentially question you, make you feel wrong, or just challenge you in the way in which you have chosen to live your life. Especially if you're listening to this podcast, I'm sure you're on some sort of fitness or wellness journey, wanting to challenge your norm to improve your life for the better. And as we know, our beliefs create our reality, and sometimes our belief is not the same as these individuals who are around us. And so when you start making changes in your life, it can be challenging at first to stand up for yourself and feel confident with these choices that you're making, especially around people who you love, whose opinions you respect, and who you would like to also respect you. As we know, we are not what other people see us as. We, in other people's eyes, are perceived in the way that they view the world, right? And to give you a little example that I've spoken about before, just to share how wildly different people's perspective of you can be depending on their view of the world, is that I was in Denmark and seeing some family members, and one of my family members told me that because I've gained weight over the last year or so, especially like lately, and she shared with me that she could see that I had gotten a little bit chubby cheeks. So that was her perspective of my weight gain, where other people on the internet, for example, or maybe you follow me on Instagram and you think I am a little bit too skinny. That's because your worldview, or whoever thinks I'm maybe too skinny, is different to this person who told me that I had gotten chubby cheeks, right? It's just two different perspectives as to what chubby looks like and what skinny looks like. It's just two different people's perspectives. And it just goes to show that the only thing we can control in our life is ourselves. And therefore, we should always pursue living in the way that is in the most alignment with what it is that we want in our life. Right? We cannot make everyone happy. No matter how hard we try, we cannot make everyone happy. So the only person we should focus on making happy is ourselves. At least when it comes to our life, we should obviously take into consideration other people's feelings, which I'm going to share a situation that happened yesterday with my mom and I, a little bit of a misinterpretation. And I did something that I today apologized for because I realized I was really in the wrong. And the reason that we had this misinterpretation and me feeling like I made a mistake is because of my belief system being different than my mom's belief system. But something that I really want you to think about as I speak throughout this podcast is, if there is a situation, a struggle that you tend to experience whenever you are in some sort of social environment. It could be when you go home to your family for the holidays, or when you go out with your friends in your day-to-day life, or just are in a work environment with certain people around. Think of maybe one or a couple of situations that make you feel not good, either when you're in the middle of the situation or afterwards. And to give you some examples, this could be that, you decide to go to this event with your family or with friends, and you decide not to drink because you know it's not going to make you feel good after the fact. or you decide that you don't want to eat that slice of cake because you've gone on this fitness transformation challenge program and you're committed to really see the results and achieve this goal that you have wanted for so long, but this time you're really committed. So you go to this event, and in the middle of it, when they give you a drink in your hand and you say no, and they keep telling you just have a drink or just have the cake. In the moment, maybe you're fine. You feel, oh, this is a delicious cake. This is a delicious drink. But the day after, you don't feel too good. You tend to just feel not energized in the way that you wanted to. You feel a little bit sluggish because of the sugar or because of the alcohol, and then it just doesn't make you feel good after the fact. So think of a situation where you either don't feel good in the middle of it or after the fact. It could also be that every time you go to Auntie Betty, she tells you that you are living your life wrong. Like you should start actually having a real career. Like what you're doing is wrong. Maybe you think back to that not making you feel good in the middle of it when that happens. And the reason I want you to think of these situations that make you feel bad, either when you're in the middle of it or after the fact, is because once we are aware of what it is specifically that does not make us feel good, we can then start to create a plan to set ourselves up for success when that tends to happen again. Something that I personally have been struggling with, and that someone yesterday, we had a group challenge call. I run these transformation challenges every month where we've developed the most incredible like-minded community, and we have calls every week, and we do a lot of things. And I'm doing a December transformation challenge that starts very soon. So if you want to join that, you can check out the link in the description. And also, if you sign up for this challenge, you're going to get 40% off. Plus, you're going to automatically get my massive January transformation challenge for free. So it's literally like 2 challenges for almost half the price as you typically get just one of my challenges for. And I promise you, if you enter and you apply these tools that I provide to you and become a part of this community where we chat daily and where we really, really work on ourselves and level up our life together, then I would love to have you. I would love it. Sometimes we speak about things like this, how to set ourselves up for success when it is time to visit family and the struggles that can come with that. And also just like generally, like we're talking about on this episode, how to succeed when we are socializing with groups that maybe don't have the same goals as us, how to set ourselves up for success. And someone from the call yesterday, she mentioned that she is really passionate about her work. And when she goes home for the holidays, her family would always make her feel really terrible about working. And so she came up with the strategy this year, that she's going to tell them, hey, I'm going to be working from this hour to this hour, so that they're prepared. They're prepared that when she comes home, she's going to be social for the majority of the day, but during these specific hours, she's going to be working. And that kind of sets them up knowing that she's going to be working during those hours, and they won't have the opportunity to make her feel bad about it because she's warned them. She's told them, and this is how it's going to be. And I have really struggled with this in the past as well, because I'm someone who's also very passionate about what I do. And I just feel the happiest when I just get maybe 2 hours of work done that I want every single day. And the rest of the time I can be with my family. So it took me a while as well to come to that conclusion, figuring out what is it that makes me feel not good when I am in this situation. Oh, it's that when I am 100% only with my family, I feel kind of like I'm missing out on my creative flow that I enjoy doing a little bit of every single day. But if I do the opposite and I'm not spending time with my family and I spend time working, then I feel bad for not spending time with my family. And I also came up with the solution that, okay, every single day when I am going home for, let's say, these 2 weeks, I'm going to spend 2 hours every single day working, because then I feel like I have the best of both worlds. I get so much time with my family. I'll also need to work out, obviously, but my mom and I, or my cousin and I, we like to work out together. I also have worked out with my brothers. So I have majority of the time with my family, and then I just have these 2 hours of work, and just the knowing of this is how it's going to be, and my family knowing that this is how it's going to be, it just eases my, let's say, anxiety that I previously had because of the feeling bad if I chose one and feeling bad if I chose the other. So what is it that you can think of now that you're going back to your family, or you're going to spend this holiday with your family, or you're going to spend this time with your friends? What is it that makes you feel not good. Get very clear on that. And then I want to ask you a question that I also asked my challengers yesterday during the call, which is, if you had no fear of judgment, what are the 1 to 3 things that you could do in these situations to feel better, both in the situation as well as afterwards? So for example, if you're someone who wants to give up drinking, if you weren't afraid of judgment, what would you do in that situation? And I think it's important to ask ourselves what we could do in that situation if we did not care at all what anyone would think. Because when we ask ourselves that, we're going to know the honest truth to what we actually want in that situation. And once we know what it is that we actually want, maybe you've paused this podcast episode just to sit with yourself and check in with yourself for a moment to figure out what that would look like for you if you were not afraid of judgment at all and you just only valued what you need in those situations. Then you can ask yourself this other question that I also asked my challengers on yesterday's call, which is, what are some ways that you could set boundaries for yourself to make this happen, to set yourself up for the utmost success as you enter these social situations in the future? And this could be that you share your goals. You tell them beforehand, hey, I have these fitness goals at the moment and I'm going to eat in this way. And don't worry, I'm going to prepare my salads myself. Like maybe, you don't need to put pressure for them to do anything. You can just say, I meal prep my own food, or I'll make a salad for every meal, or like do it so that it doesn't put any burden on them. But maybe sharing your goals with them in a very safe, calm environment could potentially help if they are open-minded, right? We don't always know how someone is going to take things like that. But at least if you share your goals, then they kind of know why. Maybe they don't understand, but at least you've made an effort to help them understand why you're making these choices. Or maybe you want to share with them, hey, every single morning from this time to this time, I'm getting in my workout. And then after that, I'm all yours. Or maybe you share, like this girl on our challenge call shared yesterday, that you share with them, hey, I have this work thing and I would like to get 2 hours of work in every day from this time to this time. Like, what are some boundaries that you can set in a loving way, in a loving way to help them understand? And maybe they won't understand because, again, your beliefs create your reality. And maybe their beliefs truly is that your life will suck if you don't allow yourself to eat cake for dessert every night. Or my life will suck if I don't drink alcohol in social situations during holidays. Maybe that truly is the belief that they have inside of them. So they really do not understand why you would choose something different. My belief, personally, Pernilla, my belief is that my life has only gotten better since I've stopped drinking. But I also am very aware that that's not going to be everyone's reality. And who knows, maybe in the future, I'm going to want to drink a glass of wine every Saturday night. We're allowed to change. But right now, in this part of my life, not drinking brings me joy. But other people may not understand that. Right now, in my life today, I also feel that generally eating healthy brings me joy. It makes me feel at my best. But the younger version of myself, she wouldn't have agreed with that, as in like, that doesn't make life better. Like she wouldn't have understood that maybe. And because they don't believe that they can do it, they also don't believe you can do it. So they're making you feel bad about even trying. There could be, some hidden subconscious, not so nice things going on in their mind. But I like to just assume that every single person is doing their best and doing what they can with what they know in this very moment in their life. So whenever we set boundaries, doing it from a loving way. Like it doesn't need to be said in any rude way, but just as long as you know and understand and love you for the choices that you are making, then the only person that really needs to understand that is you. You know how they talk about how when you have a vision, it's your vision and no one else is going to be able to see your vision because it's your vision. It was put into your heart, your mind, your intuition, your gut, your soul. It wasn't put into theirs. And just to give a random example, when I started my YouTube channel, I was made fun of by people who I respect and admire, and I wanted their understanding for this new journey I was embarking on. And I had seen this vision in my mind that I could make this YouTube thing a thing. And I could help people by sharing my life and these videos. And, whenever we start something new, we haven't gotten any success with it yet, right? It takes time to build something up, a vision up. And it's going to be hard and challenging. And when the people around you don't understand what and why you're doing it and even potentially make fun of you, it's hard. But we have to accept that other people may not understand our vision, our dream of the future, and that is okay. If we stick to it, if we keep following through and doing the thing we know within, or we feel, at least we feel there could be something about, always, I believe, will lead to something great. And once you've achieved it, accomplished it, let's say transformed your body, or you've made that YouTube channel happen and now it's like your work, then potentially they will understand as well. Most of the time they, when they see you succeed, then they will see it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll never understand why you want to be fit, let's say, but they'll see the change in you. They'll see the change in your business. They'll see the changes. And who knows if that at the end of the day ends up inspiring them to also want to get in shape or also go for their dreams. I feel like something else that Hazel spoke about on our group call yesterday, she's been in our challenges since March and every single one ever since, which is amazing. Like, these women are just freaking incredible. But she shared how her brother is a bodybuilder and he was kind of the first person in her family to break the norm and to bring his own prepped meals. And now, because he was the first one who dared do that, now it's more normalized in her family that eating healthy is okay because he was the first one to break that norm. And I feel like it's the same with everything. There has to be someone who breaks that norm first, and then that allows everyone else to also have the bravery to do so, because it's brave, right? It's brave to do things differently because we as humans are wired to want to be accepted and loved by the people we are surrounded by. It's very brave to do differently. And so if we can see ourselves as the brave ones whenever we embark on something new or make changes, then we never know what that can lead to and how that can impact and inspire other people's lives. I wanted to share the situation that happened with my mom yesterday that was hard for me. I don't like having disagreements with my mom, but we can have that sometimes. It's very peaceful and harmless because we're both very self-aware. But I told her, okay, I'm going to come home for Christmas. Like, it made her whirl. Like, she was so happy. She's always so happy when I get to travel back home. To anyone who's new to this podcast, I live in Los Angeles. I moved here when I basically haven't lived in Denmark since I was 19. And so every time I come home, she's obviously head over heels happy that I'm coming home. And I told her this. She was so excited and has been excited ever since I told her. And then I bought my ticket at one point and she told me, I remember that now, but I just didn't think about it in the moment. She was like, when you've bought your ticket, please let me know when you'll be coming. Then she'll like cancel all plans because she wants to be there when I'm there. Like, she just does everything so that she's just going to be present when I'm there, which is, so loving and so sweet. And I told her originally, I think I'll be back home from the 23rd till a little after New Year's. And when I bought the ticket, first of all the tickets were just like double price what they typically are because it's Christmas. And I found this one ticket where I would be landing on the 24th and then I would be leaving it on the 31st. So, I would land a little bit later and fly out a little earlier. And I bought the ticket. And for some reason, I didn't think of telling her. And she spent this last week, while I've known that my flight plans had changed a slight bit, she's like been planning or like unplanning things so that she could be available for when I was there. And then yesterday we just were randomly talking on the phone and she was like, so when are you buying your flight? And I was like, oh, I already bought it. So actually I'm going to be landing this day and I'm going to fly out this day. And she got really upset. Like, I could tell that it really hurt her. Not that I was going to be there shorter, because she's like, you have the freedom, like, even if you don't want to come home, I fully accept it and understand it. But what hurt her was that I had known. And I know that she's the type of person that plans around my plans. So the fact that I hadn't told her upset her. And I got upset because I had upset her. And really what it comes down to is the way my mom and the way I live my life is so different. Like, I'm the type of person, I plan on the spot. Me having to plan my flight a month in advance, that's like too much for me. I like to plan, hey, let's fly to Denmark tomorrow. Like, I'm very much more spontaneous in my wanting to plan plans. Like, with my friends and I, the way I prefer it the most is like, hey, what are you doing today? Should we meet up? Rather than, hey, let's meet Thursday the 4th of whatever. Like, I really like to just plan on the day because it's like, I don't know where I'm going to be in a week from today, like what I'm going to feel like doing. So I'm very much the opposite of my mom, who really likes to plan. And it's like very important for her. And I knew this. However, let's say I only viewed my perspective. I could have said, you should just be happy that I'm even spending all of this money to go back for Christmas because I've been in Denmark this many times. How dare you be upset that whatever, right? You know how we can like sometimes just view our side of the story, where if I step into her shoes, I can really tell how I should have acted differently because I know my mom will, plan around my plans. And the fact that I didn't just text her is, I can see now, was a massive mistake because of how her world is. And the reason I'm sharing this is because, first of all, today we spoke, and yesterday as well, like we have so much understanding for one of each other. Like we understand that it was a misunderstanding, and I feel like I learned something from it. I don't want to ever do it again. So it was definitely a learning lesson. Taking other people into consideration, that was like a learning lesson that I had because I lived so much in my own world and I didn't think to tell her. So I learned my lesson and I apologized. The reason I'm sharing this is because when you are in social environments or you go for holidays with your family, you and the other person are just going to have two different worldviews. You have different upbringings. You view the world differently from whatever it is that you've experienced and you have made yourself believe about this world. And we can always at any given moment choose what we want to focus on. So if you're in a situation where someone says something or does something that makes you feel low, it will make you feel low if you choose to focus on the thing that is not good, whether it be, oh, this person told me I had chubby cheeks, I must have chubby cheeks. Or it could be you focus on, oh, wow, that's interesting. That's her worldview. And when someone is like, oh, you're too skinny, oh, that's interesting. That's their worldview. And then you can ask yourself, do I like the way I'm moving my body lately? I've been eating. And if the answer is yes, then it's like, I'm really proud of myself for making these changes that I'm making in my body. Or if someone is making you feel bad about not drinking, then focusing on, oh, wow, their worldview must be that in order to have fun in a social environment, you have to drink, or it becomes more fun if you drink. That's interesting. I want to focus on the fact that I'm really making massive changes in my life right now that make me feel really good. What we focus on is going to result in how we're going to feel. So if we focus in the lack or in the upset, then that's what we're going to feel. But if we focus on, that's interesting that this is their worldview, and focus on how can I make them feel better, or how can I accept myself in this situation? How can I love on myself in this situation? How can I feel proud of how I'm showing up for myself in this situation because I'm doing the thing that feels right to me? I know it's hard. It's easier said than done, right? But if we can really, every single time something happens that doesn't feel good within us, question, why did I get upset? Is this worthy of getting upset over? Could I focus on something else? And sometimes someone has said something to me that makes me upset. And then it could be because maybe I haven't been acting and living in the way that's in the most truth in alignment to what I actually deep down want. And then from that reality check, I can make changes. I can be honest with myself about, oh, I want to change this. If you view every social interaction as learning lessons about how we can grow and get better within, then I think it can be easier. Life can get easier and more joyful, at least for me, whenever I question myself and I have a new realization as to why I am in a way that I am or act in the way that I do. It feels fulfilling because when I have awareness, then I can make changes. I hope that before you enter this holiday season or any social environment where previously you've struggled in one way or another, you ask yourself the question of what would actually make me feel at my best entering this. If I were to be in this situation where they hand me the cake or the alcohol and I don't really want it, what could I do to feel at my best, both in the situation and afterwards? Maybe your answer is that, you know what, actually this holiday season, I do want to drink. I do want to eat all the cake that there is. Or maybe it is, you know what, I'll have one piece of cake a day, or I'll have one drink a day. Just get very clear on what is it that you want. And I believe that authenticity holds a lot of power. People can tell when we are very clear and strong in our decisions. It wasn't until I got very clear and strong and confident in my decision as to how I wanted to live my life that I actually for real started to get accepted by it, because energy holds so much power, right? And I've said this before, but there's nothing as sexy as when you are the most authentic you. It draws people in. It sets a certain just clarity and commitment. It is when we're we're unsure of our decision, or we feel bad, or we want to avoid, or we want to hide the way in which we're going about things, people can maybe make fun of you or question you or whatever it is that the people that are around you can tend to do. But the clearer you get, the more confident you get, which comes with practice. It's not like an overnight success, or maybe it will be for some of you guys listening, or has been for some of you. I'm sure a lot of you have already accomplished this. But the more we practice being authentically ourselves and practice just standing so grounded and confident in the way in which we have chosen to live our life, the easier it will be to stand up for ourselves. I have had so much struggle with this. And today, when it comes to, let's say, my fitness journey, I have no challenge whatsoever with anyone in my family or friends environment. Like, because I've gotten so confident, which has taken years to get to, no matter what anyone would say. If they were like, oh my God, you're so boring that you don't drink, or that you don't, I'd just be like, yeah. Or maybe I would just agree with them to not, get into something, or I would just, in the nicest way possible say, this is just what makes me feel at my best every day. And I love getting up early and feeling good for my workouts, or whatever it is, because I stand so grounded and confident in the choices I make when it comes to this part of my life. Whenever I embark on anything new, it does take some time, some adjustment to learn to stand as grounded and confident in that. And different areas of my life hold different confidence levels, let's say, depending on how long I've worked on becoming the most authentic version of myself within that area of my life. So have patience with yourself, love on yourself. Be proud of yourself. Be so proud of yourself. Go look in the mirror and say, thank you for showing up for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank yourself, because the fact that you're putting in this work for yourself is massive. Don't you ever take that for granted. You are badass, you're strong, you're freaking incredible for doing this. And you never know who you're going to inspire on the journey. So I want to thank you for making a difference for your own life and for everyone who you're impacting by making these choices in your life. And thank you for listening to this podcast episode. If you want to hang out more with me, please hit that subscribe button. And if you found it valuable, please share it, because I want to grow this podcast. I'm so passionate about it, and I'm so grateful that you're listening. So thank you. And as always, remember that in order for you to grow, you have to challenge your norm. Bye.